Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. I work predominantly with individuals with attachment wounds, and most of my patients are avoidantly attached. Many of them are dismissive avoidant or fearful, leaning heavily dismissive. And today I wanted to go over a topic that makes you guys know that you are the one for an avoidant. And you can see that in these behaviors that we are about to discuss. Now, avoidance among most attachment styles predominantly have this concept of that one person, right? The person that's above everybody else, the person that they love, that they will always be with, that they will never leave. Avoidants have this particular concept that other attachment styles are not too particular about. So this concept of the one that they love, the one that they will commit to is really common. It's a very common theme in their mind, whether they admit it or not, or whether they're aware of it. This is extremely common. And so it's very important to recognize that because of that, they're a little bit slower to actually committing to a person, because once they commit to someone, they usually give that person their all. And so it might not be obvious right away, which is why I wanted to make this video. So you guys know what it looks like, so that if you are that person, you can feel encouraged that your partner does love you and that this relationship isn't a waste of time, right? Because a lot of times with an avoidant, it can feel like, where is this going? What's going on? Is this ever going to lead to something? And that's a normal feeling. But this will help you to at least manage and navigate what's really going on in your relationship. So the very first one, it might sound silly, but remember, avoidant individuals don't really open up to anybody. They ask you follow-up questions, typically after you shut something down, or maybe you're not as open for whatever reason, okay? So it could be that you said something along the lines of, how was your day? And they say good. And you said, okay, that's great. And you left it at that. Their follow-up question will be, how was your day? Or how are you feeling today? Or how was the meeting today? Maybe they knew you had a meeting. The reason why this shows an avoidant is invested in you is avoidant individuals do not like being the one who's like chasing or like trying to, it's not chasing, that's not the right word. They don't like being the one who looks like they're, I don't know, needy or desperate in their mind, which is not, that's not what it really is. But they feel that they don't want to be the one that's showing up all the time. They're afraid of that. But if they're the ones following up and saying, oh, let's say you're the one shutting down a little bit and they keep continuously, oh, what's your plans? Okay, that sounds fun. What happened at your meeting? You can see that they're moving away from their fears. They don't care about their fears anymore. They care about you. And that's very important because they want to connect to you. They actually want to know how your day has been, regardless of their fears, because your day is important to them, okay? The next one is they're more descriptive with expressing themselves with you. Let's go again, talk about, you asked, how was their day? They said, oh yeah, it was really difficult. Today, my boss was just being way more difficult than usual, much more particular. I had to, drive all the way here to do some of my visits. I had a meeting here and my meeting went over, and so I had to rush to my other meeting. So they're much more expressive, when before they would say, yeah, it was productive, but it's fine, right? Productive instead of busy, because a lot of them don't like to admit busy. But they were more expressive. And maybe they'll still say it like that. Yeah, it was really productive. I went to this, I did X, Y, and Z. I had to do this. Maybe I had to file this form, whatever it is. So they're still detailed. Even if they're not emotionally vulnerable, they're detailed. But sometimes you might see them become emotionally vulnerable, which is a huge sign, right? The next one is they're actually less attached to their own freedom. Believe it or not, yes, this does happen. Now let's talk about what that means. Let's say you guys do not live together, and maybe every Saturday your partner goes and he hangs out with his buddies, and I don't know, sometimes it can go late. Or every 3 months, your partner, maybe she goes on a girls' trip. And before, when she was on that girls' trip, she would not really answer her phone that much. She would focus on her friends, whatever it is, and she would not communicate that with you. But now she's giving up her freedom to some extent. It's a good thing. She says, hey, I landed from the plane. Hey, I'm at the hotel. Or we're going to go do this. I'll text you when I get back to the hotel. She's giving you updates. This is a little bit less of her freedom because she's telling you everything she's doing. But it's valuable to her because she feels like you matter. She doesn't need to be free and, independent like she used to be. Sure, she still is, but you don't take her freedom. You make her life better. So of course she's going to tell you when she comes home or when the plane landed. This is important to her. So she's less attached to her own freedom, or him. Just this is an example, right? The avoidant is less attached to their own freedom, okay? The next one is they take accountability. Very simple. You know what? I did raise my voice. I was in a really bad mood. I had a rough day at work, but that's not an excuse. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry, and I'm working on it because I know I have an issue with that. I know I work too much, and I gotta step back a little bit. That was something that I used to always do, but I don't think it's important. I don't think it helps us, right? Any shape or form. They might not say it as detailed as I just did unless they're deeply in their healing, but they might say, you know what? I don't want to yell that much anymore. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I feel bad. I was stressed, right? And you can start seeing them actually put effort into changing. They're not just saying it. They're actually taking accountability to actually change. You have to understand that some people get confused with this, especially anxious, preoccupied. Sometimes they believe words are more important than actions, and that's okay. But avoidants are like almost the complete opposite. Avoidants do not take words very seriously. They take action very seriously. So when an avoidant takes accountability, if they really value you, you will see it in actions more than words, even though they will show words. But avoidance, that's how they show their love. It's action-based. And so sometimes this one can be a little bit tricky because sometimes you don't see it because it's not as clear, because they're not as verbal, but it's something to think about, okay? The next one is something that I feel like is incredibly important, but I will say it's more common with avoidant men, okay? Avoidant males is backseat decision making. So what does this mean? I'm just use whatever term that is. I just made it up, but I hope you know what I mean. It's basically when they feel comfortable where you're taking charge of decisions in the relationship or in general. Avoidant individuals tend to be quite controlling, okay? Very much so, especially avoidant men. Because not really, but typically the reason why is because they feel like if they're not the one in charge, they're a bit of a failure. And it's more common with men because of the way they are raised in society and details that I'm not going to get into this video, but I hope y'all get what I mean. And so they get more comfortable with you making the decision sometimes, okay? You say, you know what? I want to go on this vacation it's summer. I want us to go to the beach and I want us to spend the entire weekend there. Is that okay? And they'll say, yeah, it's okay. And you'll say, I really care about getting, I don't know, an ocean view, ocean front, maybe, lower floor straight to the beach room. That's the type of room that I want, okay? And maybe before they would be very particular because maybe it costs more, they don't like it, or they wanted everything a certain way. But now they're like, okay, if that's really what makes you happy, let's go ahead and do that. I'm okay with that as long as we can use these hotels because I get points. So it doesn't mean that they're 100% staying away. They still told you, hey, as long as we use these hotel chains, I'm okay because that's where I get, my points from. Maybe they're a member. They still told you what they want, but they're just more okay with adjusting for you. And so that's a very important one, okay? The next one is, in general, you notice, and they probably even tell you, that your feelings and how you view them matters to them. If you say, you know what, I think that was, a little bit harsh. I don't think you should have said that. Let's say they said something to one of their friends and you were like, oh, wow, that was kind of harsh. I wish that you didn't say it like that. Imagine how that made them feel. You saying it makes them think, oh, I don't want my partner to think that way about me. I don't want to be that type of guy or girl. I'm going to calm down a little bit. They care about your feelings. They care. I saw this recently, and this is kind of common. A lot of individuals who, like a female and a male relationship, the female might feel like her partner might not understand her viewpoint simply because she's a woman. That happens. I see that a lot in my session. And a lot of men, if you tell them, hey, you're not is it because I'm a woman or you're not respecting what I'm saying? They might get pretty defensive about that because maybe they don't realize they're doing that, right? They might not mean it like that. But if an avoidant really cares about you and you say, hey, this is really important to me. It doesn't mean I'm doing it for X, Y, and Z. I like to do this. This is an actual hobby. Like a lot of girls have this hobby. It's what I love to do. And maybe they realize they made a judgment on you, right? And you call them out. Instead of them getting defensive, they might get a little defensive, but they might say, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. Yeah, I do see that it's a legitimate hobby or whatever it is. And so your perspective of them really matters. They don't want you to think of them as a bad person, especially because they want you to love them. They don't want you to leave them. They don't want you to think less of them. So your opinion really matters. The next one is they ask your perspective before making decisions. Hey, I'm trying to buy a car. Should I buy the older one that's cheaper, but it also has more miles on it? Or should I get the newer one, less miles, but it's more expensive? What do you think? So they're asking your perspective because they trust you, right? And the very last one, which is probably the most important one, honestly, is their trigger responses to their triggers are reduced. So behaviors that once triggered the avoidant may no longer elicit a strong reaction. It might not even get any reaction at all. It might even be met with a positive reaction. It shows that they're growing trust in the relationship, okay? So I hope this video was helpful to somebody. I will continue to make more in this particular topic. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.